All right, I'm sitting down for this next part because I'm like 6'5" and it really hurts to bend over that long and go through all that stuff. So I got comfy now, and I'll go through all these plastics with you and jigs and whatnot. So first we'll start with, this is going to be hard to pull out. Hold on. Everything in there is so tight. I'm going to probably have to pull a center one out to get them to loosen up. There we go. So here we have jigs, which says swim and pitching. And there's football in here as well, but I don't use football jigs as much because, like I said, I don't fish out of a boat a lot. But when there are times when I need a football jig to get down in deeper water faster, that would be a bait I would use. But I primarily pitch and swim jig a lot, so that's what's in here for the most part. Just a whole mess of same color. My confidence would be black and blue as far as jig color goes. I can safely say that it is the number one selling jig color in the world is black and blue because it's black and blue. I mean, you can use it in clear water, you can use it in stained, moderately stained, slightly stained, whatever you want to rate it at, and even downright chocolate milk. I mean, you got black is black. It's the darkest color. You can't get any darker than black, so the fish are going to see that. The profile, the silhouette, as that jig is falling vertical in the water column, it's changing profile. It's something that they can see is coming down, and that's a lot of times when you get that bite. So more baits in here like your swim jigs in the white and natural colors. There's JT jigs in here. There's Picassos. There's Terminators. There's other off brands. There's some jigs that I actually made. Just a small jig kit kind of thing. I think it was a Just Do It, whatever. It's actually something I want to get into is making jigs, my own jigs, but it can save you a lot of money from what I've been hearing from other people. And you see the scent sticks in there, the fish sticks. And I just bought these actually late in the year. It was fall, and I was using jigs at that time, and I was fishing them real slow on the secondary weed edge of these ponds where I knew big fish were gravitating towards because the main type of vegetation, which was closer to the shore, was already brown. And when I see brown vegetation, I know that it's robbing that part of the water of its oxygen content. So fish are going to move away from that type of vegetation. But the green stuff was about 2 or 3 feet away from the brown stuff. It's like the secondary weed edge in a little bit deeper water. And I was using a black and blue jig with a watermelon candy trailer chigger craw. It's a nice, high, sunny, bright, mild sky day. And I just had that jig sitting in the water. Line was tight. I'm using a St. Croix rod, very sensitive. I can feel a bass fart on that rod. And I didn't feel anything. And all of a sudden, my line just very gradually started moving to the side. And I said, well, when in doubt, set the hook. And I set the hook. It was like a 3.5 pound bass. He almost swallowed the jig. Now, what that told me was he had it in his mouth for a long time, and I did not feel him at all. He just grabbed it and just stood there and didn't move with it. And eventually, he started swimming away with it, and I was like, okay, I got him. And the jig was he almost tried to swallow it, and I really do think it was because I put this fish sticks on there because the jig I was using doesn't have any scent on it. But understanding that power bait is a good bait to use because it has its own scent. That might have been the reason why, but it might have also been because I put this on. I don't know yet. I haven't used it enough. Like I said, I bought it late in the year. That day was actually Black Friday. I skipped the shopping rush and I said, I'm going fishing. It was like 56 degrees out that day. And I did. I caught 2 fish and they were both on the jig. And the jig both of them had the fish sticks product on it. So far, I'm not a big scent buff person, but so far that's something I'm going to pay a lot of attention to. Next we have tubes. So here, I'll kind of prop that up so you guys can see a little bit better. Just different colors and sizes and whatnot. I fish tubes a lot all year round actually, because you can resemble anything with a tube. Even in the fall, I'll swim a tube close to the surface, keeping the rod tip high, weightless, making it look like a bait fish, and not scared at all to throw that into heavy cover. You know, I can skip it on a spinning rod right into the heart of the biggest part of the laydown where all the other branches are, where if I throw a jig in there that's a lot heavier, you know, it kind of punches through everything and comes down on a big splash and scares the fish. This is more of a subtle, you know, presentation. I can skip it underneath those key areas where a jig would just kind of cannonball on top of those fish and kind of put it on alert. And I've caught some nice sized bass doing that with tubes. You can skip a tube very well if you don't put the weight in the front. Okay, don't put your weight here. Get one of those little bell weights. I'll show you guys this later. You take a bell weight and you stick it in through the back side of the tube, and the bell weight has a little clip. If you don't know what a bell weight is, basically it's almost like a drop shot weight, but it's shaped more like a pear, but it has a swivel on the top, and you stick that bell weight in there, and where that gold swivel punches out of the plastic, you put it back through, and then you take your hook point of your 2-aught or 3-aught Gamma hook, and you stick it in there, and you fish for the hole of that swivel. And when you do that, you've secured that weight inside that tube. It can't go nowhere now because the hook point, the whole hook, the shaft, the offset is running through that barrel swivel. And that's going to secure that weight in there, and you can really skip that tube in places where you can't really throw a jig because it doesn't have that, you know, that skip design to it. But again, I'll show you that, guys, a little bit later. Next, if this video suddenly ends, just go to the next part because I think it's close to its time. Here we have primary trailers for jigs. Actually, I'll stop this video here because I know it's about ready to end and I don't want to get cut off in my words. So go to the next part. I said in the beginning it was going to take a while, and it's taken a while. So again, any questions or comments, feel free to ask me, and enjoy.